Namaskar, everyone. Har Har Mahadev. Now, today we are going to talk about Chandra, moon, through all the 12 houses. All right. So before we move ahead, if you guys are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get regular updates. For your personal readings, please refer to the link in the description box, www.anmolastrology.com, under reading and unique reading section, book a personal reading for yourself. Also, you can sign up for online courses under the courses option. All right, so let's get started quickly to this beautiful video. So before we know that how moon behaves into a certain house, we need to understand what moon is about and what does it represent in a particular house in the birth chart. All right. So many people leave a comment that what if this placement we have in the D9 chart? Let me tell you one thing about differentiation between different divisional charts. See, the D1 chart remains the utmost important chart because that is the chart which is the basis of life. And every other divisional chart is the opening or it's the depth of a particular house of our D1 birth chart only. So any promise that isn't there in the D1 chart cannot be fulfilled in any on the divisional chart. So it's like that you read the book cover from the D1 natal chart and then you read the book from the inside through the divisional charts. That's all it is about. So if you are to refer that you have moon's placement into one house of suppose D9 chart, you just need to change your perspective towards what you are seeking for. Like, for example, if the second house of your D1 chart is going to represent your wealth and resources and your relationship with the family, the second house of the D9 would establish and tell you how the wealth and resources would transfer or would be created after you get married or after you turn 35, and after the late how is the later part of your life basically financially. And it also tells you the kind of family that you form after a union happens in your life. That's your bhagya, right? So you see all the things that the second house represents, but with the perspective of either the relationship within the marriage or what becomes there after the marriage or after you grow, after you come into your midlife, right? So that's the change of perspective. So whenever you get a question into your mind that will this placement be same to if I see that moon's placement in my D9 chart, then my answer could not be a straight no, and it could not be straight yes as well. You need to change the perspective of looking into that placement. All right. So, what is Chandra about? We have already done a video on that. I will attach the link to that same video so that you can go and see what does Chandra basically represents and how does this planet works. But now when we need to understand that what it is going to represent when it is in a certain house, we need to know certain things. So the planet Moon is our mind and man, the heart. Moon is your receptiveness, how you react to something. How do you process an information? It's not what do you process? What is the information? That's Mercury. But how do you process the information? That is Moon, Chandra. How do you connect with anyone emotionally? How do you think? How your thoughts are formed? Not what your thoughts are, that's Mercury, but how your thoughts are formed, that's Chandra. Like, I'll give an example. If a person has a fiery moon, they will be quick at decision making, they will be quick at reacting. When a person has moon in up suppose a water sign, they hold a lot of expectations with their emotions. So whenever there's something that comes to them, they react in a very abrupt way, in a very unexpected way, which can be very emotional, which can sometimes be very reactive as well. You come to an earth sign, an earth moon, that individual is going to retrospect each and every, angle, and then they will have a very firm reaction to something. Whereas if there's an air sign, that person will be very calculative. They might not speak at that point, they might not react at that point, but they will have a lot of things going into their mind. So they are more clever, they're more intelligent with their reactions, and they see all the dynamics. That's what air is about. It's present everywhere. So that's the difference in the zodiac sign or the position of Chandra or moon, right? So moon is the man, it's the bhav, it's the mother. It's your maternal instinct as well. Whether you are a male or you are a female, it is your motherly instinct. Since moon represents the natural fourth house, wherever moon will be placed, that will be the source of your happiness. So it's not the exactly Hindu Lagna, but wherever it is said also that wherever moon goes or sits, that is considered as the Hindu point, the Hindu Lagna. It's not the typical Hindu Lagna. But the crux or the meaning out of it is that that is the area where the wealth has the potential to generate. All right. So moon represents the liquid money also. Moon represents your comforts, happiness. Since moon is about the fourth house is what? Your heart space, your personal space, your protection. You try to protect the area where moon is. You try to nurture the area where moon is. Fourth house is one of the strongest pillars of our life because fourth house represents our stability, our, since it's the house full of fluctuations because of the ruling by Chandra, moon, it's the most fluctuating house. That's why it's very, very important to analyze how stable you are going to be, how much stability you will have in your life. Right? So wherever moon is placed, you'll always try to stable that particular house because things go up and down into that house. Because that's the nature of Chandra. Moon moon affects the tides of the ocean. That's why wherever it is placed, it will give you disbalance into that area. That's why you always try to balance it. You try to stabilize that area. And fourth house is also the house of growth, along with the 10th house. It is where the growth starts, where the seed is planted for the growth. So that's the reason wherever moon will be placed, you will always try to grow that house because that's always on your mind. That is the house which gives you happiness, which gives you contentment. So that's why wherever Chandra is, that's the house you nurture. Wherever moon is placed, that is also the house of the upbringing you get through your mother. You will see that in the life of your mother, that house plays a very, very important role. So if someone has moon in the eighth house, it's not that you are going to go through emotional transitions over your life, over the whole duration of your life. You are going to suppress your emotions. You are going to learn how to suppress them. It's also that the life of your mother is also going to be full of obstacles. Even she has to transition over time for that. So, what value do you get through your mother? What is the karma that your mother has and that gets attached to you? That is also wherever Chandra is placed. So, moon basically represents Everything that you can think of about your happiness, comforts, about your nourishment, about what makes you happy, and what you need to grow. It also represents your liquid money. It also represents your savings. And on the other end, it also represents your expenditure. Wherever your moon will be placed, you will try to possess or collect the resources related to that area. Like, for example, if moon is in the fourth house, your resources are emotions, relationships. If moon is in the seventh house, your resources are how much do you know? How much people do you know? How do you connect with others? How balanced your relationships are? That's what your resources are. Your moon is in the ninth house. Your philosophy, your understanding, your ethics, your morals, your knowledge is your resources. And wherever moon is placed, right opposite to it, wherever it throws its seventh aspect, that's the area where your trauma will come from, where your fears are going to attach itself. Because moon, moon's condition is very, very valuable to see how your nights are going to be, how your mind will operate. It shows your peace of mind. All right. So, for example, if you have an exalted moon anywhere, I'm just giving an example. If suppose you have exalted moon in any of the houses, you would try to collect the resources of that houses in the form of what that particular house represents. If this moon is debilitated for you in any of the houses, you know that you will have to deal with the intensities or the deep rooted issues of that house. So, for example, if you have moon in the second house, so it is considered as invisibly exalted there because that's the domain of Taurus. But what if moon is debilitated in the second house? That means your happiness does attach to your family. Your happiness does attach to how much you're earning, how the income flow is, how much money do you have in your bank balance, your savings. But you always have to deal with deep rooted issues of the family bonds, for the family environment, for the money as well. There will be so much fluctuations and suddenness in the quality of your lifestyle and also the matters of your money, that it will always make you be worried about it, be fearful of losing family, losing relationship, losing your lifestyle, losing your money. Although if this is moon in another sign, it would have a different theory. So the zodiac sign in which moon is also placed, that also matters a lot. And right opposite to moon, wherever moon is placed, that's where the issue of the affliction of moon lies. Even if your moon is not afflicted. So affliction and unaffliction is something else. But even if your moon is not afflicted, seventh from moon would represent where the trauma lies, where the fears attach itself, where something, something troubled is happening with your emotions, where you lose your confidence. Actually, confidence would not be related to this, but this is an area which will always have a heavy heart towards you. You will have a heavy heart, sorry, towards that area. So another very, very important thing about moon is its waxing and waning stages. So the waxing is the Shukla Paksh, waning is the Krishna Paksh. Waxing is said to be a positive moon because waxing means whenever moon is going from a no moon to a full moon, like a new moon to a full moon. So it is basically slowly and steadily, it is expanding and coming into its own light, the full light. That's why it's considered that it is going out of the darkness and coming into the light. Whereas the waning moon is called as an afflicted moon or a troubled moon, or rather, in a very practical sense, it is considered as a bit selfish moon, or the dark side of the moon is more there because it is going away from the full moon and slowly it is shrinking by going towards the new moon or no moon, the Amavasya. So those are the two phases of the moon that you need to see while making the predictions. So waxing moon is said to be a stronger moon, the Shukla Paksh, and waning moon is said to be a afflicted moon, you can say, or a weak moon because it is the waning one. So that you need to keep in mind. So this is first condition. The second condition is the affliction and the unaffliction of moon. See, how do you interpret the affliction or the unaffliction of the moon? That is, that moon present in any of the houses, it would generate your happiness or it would generate your peace from that house. It has the ability to do so. But when it gets afflicted, that means that it will find difficulty for you to find happiness into the area where you know the happiness is basically residing. It's like you're trying to get a diamond. You know that this is the house, this is the area where my diamond is kept. It is mine. But you get security, you get a lot of security, and someone is trying to, you know, prevent you from getting that diamond. So basically, that is the affliction of moon, right? Whereas, go to the contrary side, whereas you have your precious metals, you have something very close to you, whether it is materialistic, whether it is non materialistic, you have that present somewhere and you are easily able to get it. That's an unafflicted moon, which nowadays is very, very rare. So do not think that you have an afflicted moon, so it's a troubled thing. Nowadays, it's very, very like there are minimum chances that people have unafflicted moon. Even if your moon is in any of the zodiac sign, but it is Vargotama, it can work beautifully. Because moon is a very, very soft planet, very soft and pious planet. It is said to be the Sattvic planet. So whenever it gets affected with any of the planets, it gets affected, whether it's a positive planet or it's a negative planet. So many times you will hear that Moon, Chandra, and Guru make the Gaj Kesari Yoga. But if you think that life for a Gaj Kesari Yoga is also very easy, that's not like it. Just consider that person with a Gaj Kesari Yoga to be Lord Ram. I'm not saying exactly that he has it, but just consider, I think he has it. Yes, he has it. But just think of it. You have all the luxury, you have all the royalty. You are indeed a king to a praja, to the kingdom, but still you are unable to enjoy that to the fullest because you have to go to the vanvas. You have to fulfill the promises that you have made. So that was back in the days. That was back in the time. But nowadays, it might be something else. You have everything, you have all the money. But maybe you don't have the liberation to enjoy that money. Maybe you do not have that much respect that you get from the others. But there is going to be something that bothers. Maybe you have so much of responsibility and morals to think of that you do have the money, but you don't have the peace of mind. So that's why moon is easily affected through any planet. That's why please keep an open mind while you are watching this video. Another thing, Chandra always has a dark side to it. Chandra, also known as moon, also known as Soma, was subject to lustfulness. And that's the reason Chandra abducted, or rather eloped, with the wife of Guru Brihaspati. The wife's name was Tara. He eloped with her and had Mercury, an illegitimate child. Chandra has 27 wives. Chandra was so lustful that whenever he had an eye upon something, he used to snatch it, or he used to snatch that person. So, wherever your moon is, it's not like you want to rule that area. It's not like you want to dominate that area, but you want to be at the priority of that area. You want to be, you want to feel important into that area, or else that makes your dark side come out. And why does Chandra or Soma or moon, whatever you call it, why does it has a dark side to it? Because one side of Chandra is seen to us, it's visible to us. Because sun is illuminating the Chandra. But what about the other side which we cannot see? That's hidden. That's the dark side. So wherever your moon is placed, there will be where your secrets are. You will definitely have something hidden into that house, or you will be forced to keep a part of that house hidden. And even your dark side comes out when that house is being attacked. And that, what could be the dark side? That means possessiveness, control issues, toxicity, and even the emotions that come out when you get hurt. Like, for example, when you get a breakup, or when you do not get the recognition into your career for something that you have done. How do you feel? You feel disappointed. That, and you have a reaction to that disappointment. That's what comes from that house. So, like, for example, with moon in the second house, beautiful placement. You'll see people with beautiful communication skills, always so attractive with their persona, with their face, with their communication. But suppose they are being said something, they are being accused regarding money, accused regarding, their communications, anything. Then that is the person which you will see to say the most hurtful things possible. The most hurtful. And why it's most hurtful? Because you definitely did not expect that to happen or that to come from them. So that's the secretive side. For example, moon in the fourth house. These people are very emotional. They are very sensitive. They always nurture others. They take care of others. But then when you do not meet their expectations, you do not acknowledge their efforts, what will happen? They will make you feel as if they do not care about you. They absolutely will leave you alone out in the rain, in the storm. That's how harsh they can get. Because they have done everything in their capacity to save you, to protect you. to nurture you, but you invited their, r- you know, anger. So wherever Chandra is placed, wherever moon is placed, there are always two sides to the same coin, and one is always darker than the other, which is visible. Another thing that I wanted to mention here is that 11th from your moon and your moon placement is going to be the fulfillment of the position of where your Chandra is, where your moon is. So we know that 11th from any placement is the fulfillment of it, fulfillment of your desires. But specifically in the case of moon, it's 11th house from where your moon is placed. That's the house which is the power source of this moon's placement, and which basically gives or feeds the satisfaction of the position of your moon. So, apart from all this, moon represents your sleep, it represents your habits. So, wherever moon is placed, that is the house where you store your habits or what your habits are related to. Moon is your perspective, your receptiveness. How do you feel something? How do you react to things? Another thing about moon is that moon has the is the strongest significator of the water tattva, but also it's a stronger significator of the earth tattva as well, because Chandra is about water. Out of the elements, it rules water. It's sensitive, it's flowy, where your energy, I wouldn't say energy, that's more with Mars, but where your mind flows, where your thoughts flows, where your emotions flows. That is the placement of moon. Moon is the fluids within your body. It's fluids itself. Moon is the water sources. Moon is also the fertility. Moon is also very important planet at showing your fame, how famous you are. How do people get attracted towards you? That's not just Venus, that is also Moon. Moon is how you make a home. So its placement would represent what do you desire the most to make a home for yourself or to get comfortable anywhere. And with the earth element, why moon is considered and also attached to the earth element? Because moon wants to have the highest of pleasures. Moon wants to have everything in its possession. Moon wants to have the most comfortable surrounding, the most luxurious experience. That's the reason it gets exalted in the sign of Taurus or in the second house. Because there it is able to create security for itself. Either it is through money, or it is through connections, or it is through family, or it is through anything else. But moon is your security. Moon's placement is where you feel protected and where when you have stability, you feel the most secure in life. But understand, sun represents your soul, but moon would represent the experience of your soul in this life. And sun and moon both are extremely important. The placement of sun and moon are very, very important because sun's placement would govern the time during the day for you, how your days go, how productive you're going to be during the daytime, and moon would decide how peaceful the nights are for you or how simply the nights are for you. So that's what moon in a house represents. Now let's talk about moon through each and every house. So moon in the first house, it will also affect your personality. The presence of moon in the first house, it is a part of your personality. And it will also be affected by the zodiac sign of Aries because that's the natural presence in the first house. So as a result, a person is very emotionally receptive. A person is reactive. Their emotions hold a lot of space into their personality. That's why you would see that in everything that these individuals do with moon in the first house, they want to feel emotionally comforted, whether it's their career or it's their personal life. The moon and emotional security, emotional stability becomes really important. They cannot do anything which does not make them feel emotionally well. Also, they are reactive. Reactive, emotionally reactive, because it's the domain of the zodiac sign of Aries. Their mind always has emotions walking around within their thoughts, right? This individual would get happy when they are doing something. It doesn't necessarily means that these people are very active physically. No, they are active emotionally and they love to be a part of doing something. They need their emotions to flow in a manner for being at a peaceful place. Otherwise, what happens is that these emotions take hold of their mind and they are unable to operate and they become very lazy. So it's very much dependent on how they are feeling emotionally for them to basically be active, because this is the house which will govern how active you are, what are you doing, because that's the zodiac, that's the natural presence of Aries. All right. So these people also have the potential to be famous because it's moon in the first house. They desire the attention. They love to mark their dominance wherever they go. They like to be prioritized. They like to connect with people on an intuitive and emotional level. That also makes them very, very intuitive and very artistic also. Understand that Venus is the creative self, but the true sense of arts is associated with Chandra, moon. So the presence of moon in the first house makes them very, very artistically aligned. And especially if this moon is supposed in Taurus, like for example, they can be extremely poetic as well. But the first house moon, you create your wealth through self identification or through your personality, through your healing abilities, through your creation, through your artisticness, artistic skills as well. But you will see that the fear or the emotional trauma that you collect that from your spouse. You collect that from your partnership. Any sudden changes into your marriage, into your partnership or relationship is directly going to affect your mental peace. So it's like the more your relationships are well, the more you will feel happy, the more you will feel comfortable. The, the lesser or whenever there is a problem within your relationships, you will start feeling very low on the health. So it is directly proportionate. It directly affects your well-being and your health. So many people you'll see they are affected by their physical abilities. They are affected, in regards of their health, they are affected by the physical abilities. But for these individuals, their relationships, their emotional health would decide how their health is. That's why their health has the ability to change itself. So it's always ups and downs. Minor things they will always have. And especially when they are not in the best state of mind, their health deteriorates. So that's how important emotions, security, and emotional well being is, not just for their emotional health, but they are for their physical health also. And this moon will also affect your appearance. So, with moon in the first house, you will have a very chubby outlook to your structure. With moon in certain houses, sorry, in certain zodiac signs, you can be very much on the leaner side, but definitely there has to be something like, your cheeks can be chubbier, your face can be round and chubby, but definitely there's a sense of roundness into your features. Either your face is round, your eyes are round, your nose is round, your lips are plumpy and round. So that's the kind of appearance an individual has, but definitely people are very attracted towards you and towards your aura and towards your ability to attract the others. They would always want to know you. Everyone always wants to know about you. That's the kind of charm that you carry. Now, moon in the second house. So, invisibly, that's the domain of Taurus where moon gets exalted. All right. So, second house moon, your emotional security and well being comes from the family, from the wealth. These people are the ones who would always have some amount of money hidden somewhere. Definitely, they will have some amount of money. And this is the kind of person you would go and ask them anytime. They will have some money. Even if you think that they do not have anything, although it's very rare for them, but they will always have some amount of money saved somewhere. Whether it's investment, whether it's in their good luck, whether it's in their piggy bank, anywhere they will just have that money. And it's good rather for them to have a they can even have a small something like what do we call it, small wallet made of silver. I don't know if you guys know about it, but there is, sometimes from a jeweler, you can get either a bowl, a small bowl, we call it as dibbi, or it's a small purse shaped, ornament made of silver. They must have that in their locker. That basically gives, or they must have silver in their locker or where they keep their money. That will always make them flourish or increase the flow of money because their emotions are directly affected from the flow of money incoming and also the way their relationship is with the family. These people are very much family oriented. They would always desire to have the best of the things. They would always desire to have the best lifestyle. Even if they have 500 rupees, they will spend 200 or 300 on food, and rest of all they will save, or they will spend that money on the nicest thing that is available. They would never settle for less. They cannot settle for something that doesn't add value, doesn't add the fineness. So these are the individual who may also be addicted to fine liquids like alcohol, scotches, premium scotches, wine, branded stuff. And they love to accumulate wealth in the form of liquid money, savings, and also in the form of their emotional relationships. In their relationships or within their family, they need to have that emotional bonding. If that is not there, they cannot live in peace. They cannot live peacefully. And that is the thing. This moon in the second house has the ability to transform it time to time, to give fluctuations within it time to time. These are the individuals who would have a very charming impact upon others with their communication. These people also have the ability to be very research oriented, very good with research and bringing out secrets. This can also be a person who cannot digest and keep any secret into their stomach. Everything that they know that will come out because they love to express themselves with communication. They love to express themselves with music as well. So they are music lovers, they are foodie, they are food lovers. Most of your expenditure would also happen upon food, upon family, upon investments, or you are trying to save. Your trauma or your fear comes when you do not have money, when you are not able to create assets. And somehow it will also come in some cases, it would come through the in-laws or the inheritance, some issues in regards of inheritance. You would definitely have a strong emotional connection within your family and with the family of your spouse, which is your in laws. But there will be some heaviness or sense of heaviness with emotions that would come through the in laws. And these people, they love to also collect arts, things related to arts. And suppose you have Moon and Ketu in the second house, or Moon in the zodiac sign of Aquarius or in Dhanishta Nakshatra, you will be very good with your singing skills, your voice. And Moon in the second house also gives you very good intuition and intuitiveness. This also shows that your partner somehow also has to suppress their emotions or has to take the responsibility of, you know, towards the well-being of family, either one of like your family or their own family, anything. But they have to suppress their wishes and emotions in their life. Now, next we have Moon in the third house. So, Moon in the third house, in the house of your self effort, your courage, and most importantly, this is an Upacha house, a tricky house, a trick sthan, a house that requires you to make an effort, a house that requires you to be courageous, You put moon there. This is the house of your skills also. So first and foremost thing, this is a chart of a very skillful person. You have such good skills. You're so much considerate. You're very considerate. You love to be around your close people. You love to express yourself through communication and through your emotions. But in your life, you will always be forced to hide your emotions and become suppressive of your emotions because your circumstances, your surroundings make you feel that this is what is ethically right because there are not much people who would appreciate your emotions. And as a result, that makes you very, very assumptuous in nature. You become very considerate, very careful of what you are speaking, so, or how the other person is coming to you. So, like for example, there's a person who just randomly said something. A person may be very close to you. You are just having a normal conversation. They just normally said something. You are going to think, overthink upon that because you will develop that assumptuousness within yourself. Third house moon, absolute love for establishing creative artistic skills. You get worried on slightest of things. And most of all, these are this is the placement of an overthinker. They love to accumulate knowledge. They love to accumulate information. The only drawback I see, actually, there are a lot of them, but the only prominent drawback I see with Moon in the third house is that they do not know where to, you know, where to put that full stop while communicating. So they can easily indulge into gossip and they get judged for that. They get criticized for that. As a result, they develop a habit of being suppressing with their emotions and what they think with their thoughts. So this is a very curious mind. This is the domain of Gemini, and this is the house of your self-effort. So you need to put a constant effort with yourself, with your emotions to express, to be there. So efforts are a part of your personality. Efforts towards creating happiness, creating comforts is always there. Most of the times, a person with a moon in the third house, and especially when it is afflicted, they are the ones to create comforts for themselves and for the ones they love. You have excellent marketing skills, you have excellent communication skills. And somehow their emotional security and peace comes when they are constantly making an effort towards something. And also their trauma or their fear generates either through their father or the way their father has had their life or through gurus or through their ability to understand what should be done as to be ethically right. So, this is a person who will observe so much, who will think so much, which might turn easily into overthinking. But this is one of the, beautiful people to be known to because they're going to always take care of you. That's the kind of placement it is. Because, actually, the nurturing sign or the womb is the fourth house. But the education, the knowledge, that you get while you are in the womb of your mother, that's Gemini. That's the third house. Or when you come out, and what do you learn? How do you learn to take your first step? How do you learn the initial things? That is the third house. So the foundation of your knowledge is the third house. So these people can be very immature at a certain point in their life, mostly in their early age, but they turn out to be the most mature and considerate individuals. And definitely, you must do something in regards of skills, marketing, salesmanship, or anything that is associated with the third house. Now, moon in the fourth house. Moon in the fourth house is a person who would love to spend the money upon comforts. And rather, I would say they are spendthrifts. They just love to spend the money that gives them happiness. They're very much connected to their mother. Similarly, to Moon in the third house, they are very much connected to their siblings and to the values that they get through their mother. Moon in the fourth house, you have your sensitivity towards your home, towards your mother. You're a very, very homely individual. You love to be surrounded by your family, by your loved ones. You love to travel, especially to places where you can relax. You love to know everything that is going on within your home because your emotions, your mind is well connected to the fourth house, to the home. And you'll see, you'll marry a spouse who's very opposite to it, who has faced a lot of struggles emotionally, who have had their understanding in life that nothing comes easy. Happiness doesn't come easy. Ha- you know, uh, Comforts doesn't come easy. They have to earn it. They have to work hard for it. For you, it might come easy because you'll get the money, you'll spend it on your comforts. You know how to find your way through your emotional, you know, sense of understanding to get, what you want. So with Moon in the fourth house, this is an individual who is highly manipulative, very spendthrift, loves to be surrounded with comfort, loves to provide comfort to others, loves to provide nurturing or nourishing others. Your trauma comes through the fluctuations or suddenness you experience out there with your career. The disturbance of your mind or the pressure, the tension you get is either due to your career or due to something affects your public image. And somehow you have your greatest karma with the government of your own homeland. But you are very, very artistic, very creative from the inside. You love to do something creative. It just naturally comes with you. You love to collect objects of arts or something which is very creative and artistic. You will definitely have that within your room, within your home. All right. And these individuals would also always have some strong karma with mother. For some reason, whether it's for good, it's good karma. We also have good karma, or it's bad karma. That depends upon the condition of the moon. And your gains of your life, the fulfillment of your desires, happens through your family. It is very good if you try to earn, and somehow your money would come from the fourth house matters. Either it's knowledge, or it's research, or it's something related to the home, designing of home, architecture, real estate, if suppose it's moon and Mars, or it could even be medical profession, researcher, healers, it could be designers, it could even be uh, the products that give comfort. So food, actually more in the second house is more with the food industry, with the financial sector. But in the fourth house, it's the things that either add on luxury or they are something that gives you comfort. And it could even be related to vehicles. All right. Now, moon in the fifth house. With moon in the fifth house, you desire and rather you love to stay romantically involved with someone. With moon in the fifth house, you love to express yourself like, you know, like a king. You love when your emotions and whatever you do, whatever you decide, whatever you say, how your emotions are, when they are appreciated. You feel emotionally secure and protected when you are appreciated for your actions, for your decisions, for your emotions. This is a very, very creative creator. You love to create. You love children. Somehow, children also love you so much. They feel so fun to be around you. And it's eventually very fun to be around a person with moon in the fifth house until unless it is heavily afflicted. Fifth house is your fun side because fifth house is the house which is naturally ruled by Leo, the children, the fun side of yours. Moon in the fifth house, you definitely have dramatic skills. You emotionally, you live the life l- of king size. I think that's what it is called, right? You love to creatively express yourself, or you love to create something through which you can earn money. You can create wealth. Your trauma or fear comes through recognition. If you are not recognized for your actions, for your helpfulness, for your dependability, it also comes through your social circle. Although you are a person who would attract people very easily within your social circle. They would somehow want to know more about you. And even you are always very curious to know about everything that is happening in the life of others. With the person with moon in the fifth house, you love to spend your money upon objects of royalty. So, just like a person with moon in the second house, you would want to spend your money. Either you would want to spend your money upon investments, you would have keen interest on shares, speculations, or making investments into those things, any sort of investment, because you have a very speculative mind. That's the fifth house. You love to learn because the fifth house is the house of education. And if this moon is afflicted, even if it is not afflicted, but especially if it is afflicted or not in a healthy sign, you will definitely have, at least once in your life, you will have some problem within your education. Either you have been consistent at having good marks every year, but there has been one year when your mark sheet was a mess that struggled. Or you took a lot of gap between your education, or it could be XYZ, anything, but that would happen because of a love situation, because of a love encounter. Because any change or any disturbance within your love life affects your education, affects your peace of mind, and most importantly, it affects your confidence. Whether whenever you are close to your children or you are able to feel romanticized, romantic, you're able to feel recognized, you are admired for your actions, your skills, your creative self expression, you will be feeling great. You will feel secured. You will feel happy. Your peace of mind will be there with you. But whenever any of these area or any of these things get affected negatively, that directly affects your peace of mind. And then you struggle to feel confident. You struggle to even concentrate. So with children with fifth house moon, you should always push them. They always need a positive motivation to grow in their life. They want to be appreciated. Even if they haven't had the best marks, just appreciate them and look, trust me on this, next time they will have very good marks. Their confidence boosts. Now, the sixth house moon. So, this is one of the difficult placements for moon to be in because it's the house of Virgo. It's the house where you are very observant and you try to nitpick every minute detail. And emotionally, if you try to nitpick every minute detail or you try to criticize emotionally, whether you criticize yourself or you criticize others, that is going to ultimately affect your peace of mind. And somehow there is a greatest karma for them in regards of their health and in regards of debts, money exchanges. Your mind feels at peace only when you are settling disputes or you are being a part of disputes. So somehow, Venus in the sixth house, sorry, Moon in the sixth house attracts some sort of drama. That means emotionally you feel conflicted because your moon is in the house of conflict. And why the emotional conflict comes in? Because you try to overanalyze things. You try to overanalyze and over criticize minute details because you cannot ignore anything. It is very hard for you to ignore something. And as a result, your trauma, your fear comes through your subconscious mind. Your spirituality, in fact. You fear Isolation also. Why a person with moon in the sixth house always is a part of conflicts or always is conflicted because they never want to be left alone. This person with moon in the sixth house might not agree to it in front of everyone, but they do not like to be left alone. And you have the highest debating skills. Even a normal conversation for you can end up into arguments. What kind of arguments? That depends on which sign moon is in. But trust me, if it is moon and in a water sign, it's more struggling. Because then it's like emotionally, there are so many expectations, and those lead you towards your own obstacles. That's the obstacle creator for you. So, with moon in the sixth house, the only time you feel at peace is when you are taking care of your health, when you are interacting with your relatives, with your extended family, although you will also have issues and problems with your extended families, the graph will never be the same. It is always going to be fluctuating. And somehow, for a person with moon in the sixth house, and this can be like for some people only, the fulfillment of your desires happens somehow through your mother or through your home. For some people, not for everyone. Depends on how, this moon is placed, in which sign, what are the aspects, what is the conjunction of this moon. But these people do very well in healthcare because your emotion, your mind, your thoughts have to be at service. If they are not at service, then you'll feel conflicted. The more you do seva, the more you are, working with money, you're working with numbers, the more you feel occupied. And I won't say that there's ever that person with moon in the sixth house can feel peaceful, but you can change the direction of your thoughts. You can change the direction of where your focus goes or where your emotion flows. Try to solve problems of the others. Try to be at service. Try to speak less. Try to have no expectations emotionally. I know that you have learned the hard way how to be critical of your own emotions and how to critically express yourself and how much connection that you need to have with someone else. But sometimes, for your own peace, it's good to keep things to yourself. Otherwise, it end up in arguments only. So with moon in the sixth house, this person can do beautifully well in healthcare, in service sector, in banks, and even in nutrition related fields. Like you can be a gym or a gym person, you can be a gym trainer, you can be an yoga artist, anything which involves health and nutrition or debts, banks, financial institutions, even the food industry. Okay. Now, moon in the seventh house. For them, relationships and the balance that comes through relationships is extremely important. But the life of a person with moon in the seventh house is not easy, especially emotionally. One thing you'll observe is that your partner would have have responsibility of the family, and somehow because of their emotional connectivity or even their emotional trauma, childhood trauma, or generational trauma, but anything that is connected to the family and their emotions, that is going to affect the marriage life. That is going to directly affect you. And somehow, with a person with moon in the seventh house, you are bound to take the responsibility of your in-laws, especially in the terms of in like monetary terms. Most of your expenditure also goes towards your spouse. You love to pamper your spouse. Your spouse is happy, you are happy. As a result, you discard yourself. You discard yourself so much that at a point you realize that I've surrounded my life around my partner and where I am. I've been so much giving that I've not been receiving at all into this relationship. And that's where you feel insecure. So, a person with moon in the seventh house, they're always in a dilemma. In a dilemma, not about their decisions, but about their own value. Your comforts, your happiness comes through your spouse, through your relationships, even if you're not married, through you being in a relationship. But at the same time, you have a constant tug of war happening between yourself, you prioritizing yourself, and you prioritizing your partner. That's the constant struggle this person would go through. Another thing, this person would definitely end up doing business. They love to be the negotiators. They love to be the one to solve the problems. They are excellent psychologists. They are excellent mind readers. Your emotional security comes through your relationships, but most importantly, it comes through the balance of your relationships. You love to travel. Your partner loves to travel. Both of you definitely are two hippies. Everything after your marriage or everything within your marriage happens unexpectedly. You want to travel somewhere, it will happen unexpectedly. You wish to do something, it will happen unexpectedly. But emotions are your strength. Emotions are the foundation of your relationship and even of your well being. But your partner would always have a secretive side of themselves, which they cannot express easily. That's the secret side to them. Now, the condition of moon would decide whether it's something alarming or it is something very adjustable. But with moon in the seventh house, there's always a beautiful emotional connection between two people. And the partner is very, very lustful. The emotional health of your marriage is equivalent to the physical life or the sexual intimacy between you and your partner. These are the people who can get romantic at any place at any time. They don't need that specification that it's only the night time when you can have that intimacy. Not at all. That's the kind of emotional understanding and connection these people have. But again, I'm saying it depends on how this moon is, whether it is afflicted or it is unafflicted. But your partner adds on emotional value into your life. Your partner is a very sensitive person. You marry a very sensitive partner. And even just similar to when we discussed about moon in the first house, that the appearance is getting affected through the moon. You will see with moon in the seventh house, your partner's appearance is very much affected through this moon. They will have round features, round eyes, round nose, round lips, plumpy lips. And even if they are not plumpy, with their body structure, they would have some plumpiness within maybe their cheeks, within maybe their arms, some like it's mostly on the face. All right. Now, moon in the eighth house. So, moon in the eighth house is definitely a difficult placement to have because, first of all, your childhood is not very great. In your life, you have gone through transitions and transformations with your emotional well being and with your emotions as well. You have transformed emotionally within your life. With moon in the eighth house, your partner is going to be very, very dedicated towards the family or the dynamics of family. Your partner would want to have, you know, money, good lifestyle, being closer to the family. But your moon in the eighth house gives you the tendency to suppress your emotions. So it's not like a person with moon in the eighth house is born with suppressed emotions or they do not like to express emotions. They have done it, but the circumstances or what they got in exchange was not something that they felt happy with. So there are a lot of expectations, a lot of emotions that this individual has. They are very, very sensitive, super sensitive, even sensitive more than a person with moon in the fourth house or Cancer. They learn the sense of sacrifice in their life through the turmoil they go within their life. They see their mother suffer, and they may even get deception from the mother at some point in their life. But they are very sensitive about their mother. They are very sensitive about their sexual relationships. They are very sensitive about their intimacy. They only feel at peace and emotionally secure if they are able to express themselves in a sexual, intimate relationship. So that's why that becomes extremely important for them. Not just that, but when they are able to create assets, fixed assets, and something that they can call that this thing is mine. This house is mine. This car is mine. I have this luxurious car. I have this kind of technology. That's when they feel happy. They feel secure. These people learn the lesson to hide their wealth, to hide their money and income. And their income can even come from the eighth house matters. They can receive money from the in laws as well. It depends on what is the condition of moon. Actually, a debilitated moon in the eighth house, that is more applicable or getting money through the in-laws or getting benefited monetarily through the in-laws. Moon in the eighth house, your trauma, your fears are attached to the matters of money and even to what you have gotten through your family. So that's why the childhood was not the best. Their money can come from investments, inheritance also, or something that has been created by, the lineage. But it's in very few cases. But moon in the eighth house can make you very, very materialistic because your circumstances make you learn how to suppress the emotional side of yours. You understand the importance of money. That's why the seventh aspect of moon is on the second house. You love your own time. You love your own space. That's eighth house. That's what eighth house is about. Your comfortable, secretive space. You will definitely have a secret spot where you love to sit and have a drink or have a smoke. Something of that sort. Or maybe you love to create in your secret spot, but you love to do something within your secret spot. You're very much connected to your in-laws. You feel emotionally connected to your in-laws. And somehow the emotional trauma, the emotional distance comes from your own family. Your happiness comes when you are researching. These people are n- very much closer to detectives or detectives themselves. They love to bring out things, bring out information. They love to do something transformative. And definitely, 24th year is very transformative for you emotionally. Very transformative. Now, moon in the ninth house. With moon in the ninth house, you seek your happiness when you are able to learn, when you are able to be free and freely express yourself, when you are able to become the guru yourself. So many people feel that moon in the ninth house means you're very emotional and connected to your guru. That is true. But you also feel emotionally secure when you are able to guide someone with your philosophy, with your knowledge. You are able, when you are able to be the guru or the guiding source to someone else, that's when you feel emotionally secured or emotionally uplifted. You love to travel. You love to connect with spirituality in your own way. And you absolutely hate restrictions. Your trauma or your fear comes through communication because you don't like to be bounded with communication. You love to express and communicate freely. But when you are put into a situation where you are restricted or where you feel that now I have to be in a difficult situation, I have to look after something which I am not willing to do myself, that's when you do not feel good. With moon in the third house, your partner desires communication. Communication somehow becomes very, very important for your relationships. You are able to gain or fulfill your desires either after marriage or through your partner through the marriage. Your emotional receptivity strengthens through marriage or through your spouse. These people do very well with writing, publishing, journalism. with speech, talking, guiding, consultancy services, wherever advisory work is involved. They can do very well as surgeons, as doctors as well. Even with the 8th house moon, they can do very well as surgeons, even insurance agents. Moon in the 9th house, you seek your happiness through travel, through spirituality. And even you feel very connected to your father. But there will always be a secret side to your father, a secret side of your guru as well, of any person that comes to guide you as well. You would most probably would settle your home away from your birthplace, or you would somehow, as soon as you're born or later down the years, dependent upon your dasha, you would go away from your homeland. Your emotional intelligence is very much given to you by your father or your father figures. Even it is possible that your mother takes the place of your father. In some cases, that is also one of the possibilities. That your mother is very much like your father figure, or your father has to take on the roles of your mother as well. But ninth house moon, one of the beautiful placements, they always need to have a goal in front of them to achieve. That's what makes them happy and satisfied. Moon in the 10th house. One of the difficult placements to have, but that's a beautiful person. Like, beautiful in the sense that everything in your life you create for yourself. Because now moon is not in the fourth house, it's opposite to it. Moon is not in its comfort zone, it is in a uncomfortable zone where moon doesn't feel very comfortable. Now moon has to work hard. With moon in the 10th house, that's if suppose that's a person who would bring the food on the table, even if you are a feminine, even if you are a female. That's a mother who will take care of the child and also take care of the career. That's a father who will take care of the child and also will take care of the career. Moon struggles here. This is one of the another Upachya house. So your emotions, you're extremely sensitive, very much similar to moon in the 8th house. You absolutely want to have a very good status out there in the society. Whenever you are able to fulfill your obligation towards the society, when you are able to do something in your career, whenever your career gets at a comfortable space where you now do not have to struggle to grow or thrive, that's when you feel that my motive or my purpose of life is fulfilled. Moon in the 10th house, your mother will make sure that you know what is the real side of the world. And there is no soft spot for you. You will have to struggle emotionally. And as a result, you take time to connect with anyone emotionally because of the amount of struggle you have had emotionally since the childhood. Because there has been numerous times when you were not appreciated or you were not given the importance. Every single time of that childhood has added on as a cement upon your heart and made it cold and like a rock. That's how a person with moon in the 10th house becomes. On the other end, you get married to a person who is emotionally very, very receptive, very expressive. You have learned how it is important to have money, to have status, to have your identification through career, your happiness through career. So, this could be a very sacrificial person. You see those fathers who always work hard and provide everything, all the luxury to their children, to their wife. But for them, they just settle. They do have a good status. They do enjoy the things they like, but they are limited. They always themselves be in that boundary. That's the kind of father it is. That's the kind of mother it is. Very sacrificial. But at the same time, they love to repent. They love to talk about, and they love to crib, or they love to speak in front of you. Oh, this is not bad. I sacrifice this, I sacrifice that. That's not in a way they want to do that to make you feel little. No, they just want to be heard. They just want to be appreciated for the struggles they have gone through. You appreciate a person with moon in the 10th house, trust me, they are going to bring the moon for you. That's how dedicated they are. But at times when they have been on the giving side forever, there can be a time, most probably whenever Saturn travels through it or Rahu travels through it. This can be the time when they are going to become the biggest rebel, and you'll see a different side. Their trauma or their uncomfortable space is the fourth house, the emotions. You ask them to express emotionally, and they'll suddenly get so alert, so cautious. Oh, what are you asking me? How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to emotionally express myself. I don't know how to feel that emotional connection. That's how restrictive they are. That's how restriction they have put their emotions into. And with a person with moon in the 10th house, they would be able to fulfill their desires and gain from secretive sources. With the moon in the 10th house, and especially if it is influenced by sun, they can love to gamble. That's one of the snapshot predictions I'm giving you. But with this placement, they fulfill their desires from secretive, unknown sources, or they can get it happen suddenly. Suddenly, these things can happen for them. And for your career, 24th year becomes one of the important years. Now, moon in the 11th house. Until unless these people are able to do something for someone else or for people in general, they don't feel emotionally happy, satisfied. I think moon in the 11th house is a constant hunger that you have. You see those people who are already at a very established level, but still are trying new startups, still are trying to expand their work or expand their income sources. These are the moon in the 11th house. They definitely, absolutely gain through their mother. or feminine individuals. These are the most introverted people that you will see who will ultimately become the most, I won't say socially active people, but the ones who have to be out there because their happiness, their satisfaction comes when they are out there, when they are able to make a change within the society or make a change through their innovative mind, through their innovation into the lives of people. That's when they feel emotionally fulfilled, when they are able to fulfill their own desires, but at the same time being able to fulfill desires of others as well. That's when they feel happy, comfortable. Moon in the 11th house, these individuals do very well into corporate settings or where large groups of people are there, where they have to be the presentator, they have to make an innovation. They do well in corporates, they do well in scientific fields, they do well wherever, you know, with they do well with NGOs, they do well with humanitarian. Like, for example, I knew of a person who was a environmentalist, a lawyer and a environmentalist. So they love to be in scientific world. They love to speculate as well. For a person with moon in the 11th house, they have to be very careful with their investment and with their speculations. Their trauma actually comes from their love life, from their children, and also they have greatest karma with their love life and their children. And it also comes through an event or through maybe, for example, a person with a moon in the 11th house has invested their money or gambled with their money either into shares or into actual gambling, and they faced a huge loss. So that is going to be the traumatic experience they are going to have. Or it is going to be through one-sided love or a love situation, a love encounter they have had, and also through the children. They would try to be very, they would not try, they are actually very possessive towards their children. All right. With Moon in the 11th house, they are very good spectators. They're very good evaluators. They're very innovative. They're very scientific. And they always have something technical to do as a part of their career. They are, these people have unusual desires that they wish to fulfill. And at some point, they become extremely practical because they're very futuristic. So this may not be a person who will talk about emotions, but rather who would talk about logics, who would try to foresee the future. And Moon in the 11th house is a strong significator of fame as well. It has the ability to make you famous. And I have seen very much social activists with Moon in the 11th house, very much philanthropists with Moon in the 11th house. And there's always a strong rebel against the mother. There's a strong emotional connection with the elder sibling. It's like you're friends to your mother, you're friends to your elder sibling, but still there is lack of similar opinion. Something is going to be there where you'll feel that yes, I have to rebel because this is not where we meet at one point. And your gains also come from distant places and even from your father. With a person with 11th house moon, I've seen them to be like I would again say not for everyone, but many times I've seen they are their father's princess or their father's prince. They get pampered and they get their desires fulfilled through the father as well, through their gurus as well. They are very good at carrying forward legacy, carrying forward social, social events, social meetings. Although these are the people in their childhood, they are going to be the most introverted children, more observant and less expressive. They learn to build their confidence over a period of time. Now, moon in the 12th house. So, a 12th house moon will always give a difficult or something in the life of your mother is difficult, which makes her isolate herself. Like, not voluntarily, it's not necessary voluntarily, but your mother at some time in her life, she will feel that as if she is alone, she is isolated, or she has to manage everything on her own. She has to manage everything alone. And for you, moon in the 12th house, you definitely have an escapist attitude. You don't know how to express. You don't know how to talk about your emotions. And you don't know how to manage your disputes, your conflicts, and your arguments. You run away from arguments. You run away from conflicts. You don't address them, you run away from them. And that's why either moon in the 12th house goes into spirituality or goes into addiction totally. So that's the polarity of the zodiac sign of Pisces. 12th house moon, it's always good if they live away from their birthplace because they love to be in their own world. They love to be isolated. They love to work behind the scenes. You're super creative, you're super artistic, but emotionally you feel good when you're left in your own personal space, when you're left with your own freedom, when you're not pushed into anything. You love to work on your own terms. You don't love to be pressurized at all. And whenever you are left alone, you're left in isolation, you're left in, like, you're given the task and it's just left on you. The person doesn't follow up and, doesn't pressurize you, doesn't give you deadlines. You are going to make beautiful pieces. You're going to do beautiful work. But the moment someone intervenes your personal private space, someone tries to build a pressure upon you, someone tries to push you, your mind doesn't work. Your creative self doesn't come out. You're absolutely good at fantasizing. You're very creative, very artistic. You love to appreciate beauty, but you find your comfort in isolation, away from all the hustle bustle. 12th house moon, you have the strongest karma with your own subconscious mind. You have to struggle with something related to money. Your trauma comes through the 6th house, through not being well with your, you know, with your health, not being able to pay off your debts, not being able to manage money, not being able to manage your disputes and obstacles. And your spouse, on the other hand, would be very highly critical and over analyzing things. The more you are a quieter person, the more you are an escapist, the more your partner is going to be involved, and the more they are into creating that argument, creating that nitpicking things, over analyzing things. The more you are onto the ignorant side, you observe everything. You observe everything, but you react on only a few things. You're very secretive. You react only when it has been overboard, or only when the emotions have overflowed. But your partner will be very quick at reacting, very conflicted emotionally. So 12th house moon, your gains, your desires are fulfilled with your own effort. And once you fulfill your responsibilities, and that's what you require to learn in your life. Whenever your career is on the right pace, you're getting recognized for your work. When you are able to fulfill your responsibilities, that's when you will feel that, yes, I am doing something. I'm feeling satisfied. But definitely, this is a very, very spiritual placement. But this always starts with addiction, some sort of addiction, which will become a catalyst to your spirituality or spiritual journey. All right. So, guys, this was my analysis about moon through houses. I hope this gives you good insights into your moon placement. Let me tell you, this is just a video where I have tried to interpret the results of moon in one house from 1 to 12. There is so much more we can discuss. I might do individual videos for moon in the first house, second house, third house, individually. There you'll get to know more about it. All right. So, yeah, we'll meet you next time. Bye bye. Take care.